What is ESG? A miserable little pile of secrets. Or so you might think, but actually the information is all out there, which is funny. It is funny that all the information is out there and people still are quite ignorant about it. It is a thing. It is a thing that is happening. Hang on, let me stop this. Start this music. Monster Hunter battle music, 6 hours. Sounds good to me. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, ESG and DEI. We've been hearing about this stuff for quite some time, especially if you are in some circles, right? The how to say it? The explosive situation with sweet babying and whatnot brought this to many people, and I think that I don't want to say many, right? Because I don't really know, but some people really don't know what's happening. After all, we're starting the conversation in the middle, so it is understandable that they will not really and fully understand what's going on. So I was doing some research this past week about ESG and DI, their history and whatnot. Let me tell you, if you thought this was bad, I have bad news for you. It's even worse than what you think. So, let's see. It's a history lesson for today. Where's my thing? Here's my thing. What is ESG investing? What impact is your investment making? Well, first of all, we need to understand the definition. We might disagree here and there, but we'll see that the facts are there, and they seem to come up with a strange, to say the least, conclusion that I don't necessarily agree with. From Investopedia. All my sources today are reputable, and probably most of them do not agree with me, at least with their conclusions. But the facts are quite telling. That's what we call in the business sophistry. Anyway, let's see. What is ESG investing? ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. Okay, first of all, do not take a drink every time we see environmental, social, and governance. You're going to end up dead. I do not offer insurance, okay? I'm just a silly guy on the internet. ESG investing refers to how companies score on these responsibility metrics. Responsibility metrics. Okay, this is quite telling at the moment. And the standards for potential investments. Potential, okay. Environmental criteria gauge how a company safeguards the environment. Okay, that makes sense. Social criteria examine, could it be with an S? Like examines? I don't know. How it manages relationships with employees, suppliers, customers, and communities. The first three? That makes sense to me. Communities. Okay. We'll remember that. Governance measures a company's leadership, executive pay, audits, internal controls, and shareholder rights. Shareholder rights. Remember this, because this is going to change. This is going to change, by definition, real soon. It's not actually shareholder rights. Well, maybe it is shareholder rights, but there's more stuff. There's more stuff. Key takeaways. Stop it. I don't want your videos here. So annoying. Environmental, social, and governance ESG investing is used to screen investments based on corporate policies and to encourage companies to act responsibly. Okay, that makes sense. responsibly to what? We have no idea. I don't think we will be told somewhat about this at some point. Many brokerage firms offer investment products that employ ESG principles. This is a really important point. We'll get more of this later. ESG investment can help portfolios avoid holding companies engaged in risky or unethical practices. Companies engaged in risky or unethical practices. This is a lie. This is just a lie here, okay? This is not happening. This is not what's happening at all. If you've been active on social media, you have seen that companies like Tesla, that shouldn't be risky or unethical, after all they're just electric cars, have low ESG scores compared to, what was it? Tobacco companies. That's a little bit strange. That is a little bit strange. But you know, that's fact. That's fact. Okay, let's see. How ESG investing works? We should know about this. ESG investing is sometimes referred to as sustainable investing, responsible investing, impact investing, or socially responsible investing. A lot of names. This is a company based on ESG criteria. Investors look at a broad range of behaviors and policies. ESG investors seek to ensure the companies they fund are responsible stewards of the environment, good corporate citizens, and led by accountable managers based on criteria including... Hold up. First of all, sustainable? Sustainable according to what? Sustainability. Yeah. I mean, they have a link here, right? But what I find telling here, we could look into this, but it's just a bunch of... how to say this? Buzzwording, maybe, is the correct terminology. Thing is, they found are responsible stewards of the environment. Me when I lie, probably. With corporate citizens, which to me seems strange. Why would the company care about this necessarily? Accountable managers, you know, sure, that makes sense to some extent. Environmental. Investors evaluate corporate climate policies, energy use, waste, pollution, natural resource conservation, and treatment of animals. Considerations may include direct and indirect greenhouse gas emissions, management of toxic waste, and compliance with environmental regulations. All of this sounds fantastic, but why do you have to worry about this when you are working in office? And they do. We saw that with Say Games a while ago. I get it, but at the same time, you're in office, you know? Gas emissions and whatnot. Sure, but what are you supposed to do about it? To me, it doesn't make any sense. Social. A company's relationships with internal and external stakeholders are evaluated. Does the company donate a percentage of profits to the local community or encourage employees to volunteer? Do workplace conditions reflect a high regard for employees' health and safety? Do you see the whistle wording here already? They were talking about shareholder rights, but quickly, external stakeholders. Interesting change, right? Let's have some stuff here. Does the company donate a percentage of profits to the local community? Why? It's a private company. Why are you getting there? Encourage employees to volunteer. You're really the boss. Shut the hell up, right? The thing is, let's change to stakeholders. I don't want to forget about this. What is a stakeholder? Well, in simple terms, it would be the modern audience we've been talking about or hearing about. I have a link here. What is stakeholder capitalism? Stakeholder capitalism is a system in which corporations are oriented to serve the interests of all their stakeholders. Among the key stakeholders are customers, suppliers, employees, shareholders, and local communities. Under the system, it has its purpose to create long-term value and to maximize profits and enhance shareholder value at the cost of other stakeholder groups. So, what they were talking about with shareholders in ESG, in absolute lie, by their own words. Supporters of stakeholder capitalism believe that serving the interests of all stakeholders, as opposed to only shareholders, is essential to the long-term success of any business. Notably, they make the case for stakeholder capitalism being a sensible business decision, in addition to being an ethical choice. Ethical, by the way. Strange to me. Which is funny that they want to shit on shareholders, because I'm pretty sure they have legal responsibilities for them that they're probably ignoring at the moment. That's actually... they can probably get sued because of that. I'm not big into economy, but I think I've heard something about it. Key takeaways. Stakeholder capitalism proposes that corporations should serve the interest of all their stakeholders and not just shareholders. Look. Customers? Sure. Employees? Maybe. Shareholders? Makes sense to me. Suppliers? Why though? I don't understand. Local communities? I don't understand. No idea. No idea. Stakeholders can include investors, owners, employees, vendors, customers, and the general public at large. So you're supposed to care about literally everyone, because stakeholders. But the general public, this is the general audience that we've been hearing about. It's not real, because you're talking about the strawman. They could exist, but like aliens, right? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know what to tell you. Focus on long-term value creation, not merely enhancing shareholder value. Long-term value creation. But how? But why? I don't understand. Historically, considering all stakeholders was the norm in the US, until Milton Friedman argued that corporate executives only beholden to shareholders. I'm pretty sure that this is correct in a legal sense. I might be wrong, okay? Once again, I think I've heard about this. Supporters of stakeholder capitalism today believe the priority in all entities should replace shareholder primacy. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think it's working for them, actually. We'll get to that later. Let's get back to ESG. Governance. What the hell is this? Ensures the company uses accurate and transparent accounting methods, pursues integrity and diversity in selecting its leadership, and is accountable to shareholders. Wait, hold up. Hold up. They were already preoccupied with the stakeholders, but now you have to mention shareholders again, probably to appease them. Just my opinion. ESG investors may require assurance that companies avoid conflicts of interest in their choice of board members and senior executives, and these political contributions to obtain preferential treatment or engaging in illegal conduct. This sounds really good. However, I don't think this is actually happening. Like, I don't think ESG is actually avoiding this stuff. Also, before I forget. Integrity? Sure. Diversity in selecting its leadership. Diversity of what? I don't have a link here. I cannot click this. What kind of diversity? We can only assume the worst. If it was diversity of ideas, hey, that sounds reasonable to me. We were speaking about DEI today too, so you know, buckle up, baby boy. ESG investors help inform the investment choices of large institutional investors such as public pension funds. ESG specific mutual funds and ETFs reached a record 480 billion USD AUM in 2023. Brokerage and mutual fund companies offer exchange-traded funds and other financial products that follow ESG investment strategies. Robo-advisors, including Betterment and Wealthfront, have promoted these ESG-themed offerings to younger investors. I wonder why. Well, I guess they are impressionable and they don't really have that much experience. Just my opinion, once again. I need a drink already. Non-alcoholic, but you know. It's all at this moment with all we've read already. Seems to me that this is just economy tricks. Not really for the best of the companies themselves, but they have some sort of shenanigans with investment from outside. We'll get to that, so don't worry about it. You have metrics here, you have investors. Funny stuff about the metrics. It's actually kind of all over the place. I don't think this is standardized nowadays, which is interesting. But given the history, I guess it only makes sense. Investment firms like Boston-based Trillium Asset Management use a variety of ESG factors to help identify companies positioned for strong long-term performance. They keep talking about long-term performance and not benefits, profits. I think that like 75% of that it's actually not a thing. The criteria set by analysts who identify the relevant issues facing specific sectors, industries, and companies. ESG criteria preclude investments in companies that operate in high-risk areas or have exposure to coal or hard rock mining, nuclear or coal power, private prisons, agricultural biotechnology, tobacco, tar sands, or weapons and firearms. Okay. They do not invest in companies involved in major or recent controversies over human rights, animal welfare, environmental concerns, governance issues, or product safety. Safety. I'm trying, okay? There are criteria, okay? But we can say that this is not low-risk stuff at all. Rock mining? Maybe, perhaps. Nuclear or coal power? Okay, coal could be dangerous to some extent. Private prisons? Once again, kind of risky. Tobacco, tar sands, weapons, and firearms. Maybe they were talking about high risk money-wise. That doesn't... I don't think that was the case. Personally, okay? I don't think that was the case. But maybe. Also, they do not invest in companies involving a bunch of stuff that we don't like. Right? Controversies over human rights. I think this is a little bit of whistle wording again. If they are literally about human rights, sure. Nowadays we call a human right absolutely fucking everything. So, I don't know. This can be skewed a little bit. Trillium's metrics include investments in companies that support the environment through renewable energy sources and publish sustainability reports. Renewable energy. Sounds so good, but it's so bad. Social metrics include companies that operate ethical supply chains and avoid overseas labor with questionable workplace or child labor policies. We will need to look at a list of highest curiosity for this. Once again, I don't think this is actually enforced. It's just a asset management from Boston. So it could be, and it wouldn't be important in the grand scheme of things, right? Metrics for governance require companies to embrace diversity on the board of directors and maintain corporate transparency. Look, corporate transparency, cool, cool. Embrace diversity on the board of directors. But why? What kind of diversity though? I cannot click this. We can only send the words. Once again, keep on moving. Let's see. Investors in ESG. There's a bunch of stuff here that I could skip. I will leave the links on the YouTube description for anyone that wants to check that out. As ESG business practices gain traction, investment firms track their performance. Financial services companies such as JP Morgan Chase, JP Morgan, remember this? This will be on the exam, okay? Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs, remember Goldman Sachs, this will be on the exam too. Publish annual reports that extensively review their ESG approaches and the bottom line results. Okay. The ultimate value of ESG investing. Sorry, I'm struggling today. I don't know what to tell you. Depends on whether they encourage companies to drive real change for the common good. Real change for the common good. I will need a citation here. What is actually the common good? It should be obvious. Nowadays, I don't know anymore. I merely check boxes and publish reports. Remember this. This will be important when we get to the end. It all comes together. It's so funny. This is public information, by the way. It's annoying as hell to get through. But all of this, public information. That in turn will depend on whether the investment flows follow ESG tenets are realistic, measurable, and actionable. Okay. Tech and defense are two industries avoided by many ESG investors. That's actually, well, many investors. Maybe, but they do get higher scores, which is weird to me. But historically produced above average market returns and can back recessionary trends. To support ESG, US investors may be sacrificing returns in exchange for values. Sacrificing returns in exchange for values. But why? You're a company. You should try to get returns, money, profit. That is so weird to me. Many ESG investors are willing to make that trade-off, though. I believe it. We'll see about the trade-off later, though. According to a survey of investigating 300 readers, 300, they're probably not biased at all. What can I say? Nearly half of ESG investors said that they'd be willing to take a 10% loss over 5 years to invest in a company that aligns exceptionally against ESG standards. But why? We can make ourselves some idea a little bit later. And 74% of respondents said that valuation / price was very extremely important to them. Well, now that makes sense to me. I mean, is investing different from sustainable investing? Not that different, actually. What does ESG mean for a business? Adopting ESG principles means corporate strategy focuses on environment, social, and governance. Yeah? Please go on. This means taking measures to lower pollution and CO2 output and reduce waste. It also means having a diverse and inclusive workforce. By the way, I forgot about this. At the entry level and the board of directors. Thank goodness I decided to include DEI in this research. It's gonna be important. So first we're gonna be talking all about ESG, which is the bulk of this, and then we'll get into DEI, which is actually pretty spicy. It is pretty spicy stuff, by their own admission, which is interesting. So let's see the bottom line. They are still You know, it is strange. You will be taking measures to lower pollution, contamination, waste and whatnot. You have to be diverse and inclusive. How does this make money? Didn't even know. Didn't even know. But since we have the definition already, I decided to look a little bit more on the history of ESG. This has to come from somewhere. It only makes sense. So we have the history of ESG from IBM. That should be a reputable source. History of ESG, a journey towards sustainable investing. Okay. Metrics, but well, the term we're gonna start here. There's a lot of repeated stuff, so I will skip it a little bit to be a little bit faster. We've been reading this for half an hour already. We're not even close to done. But while the term ESG was first coined in 2004 by the United Nations Global Compact. Remember this, United Nations. I know about them. The concept has been around for much longer. Interesting. Let's see. In the 70s, social responsible investing emerged as a way for investors to align their portfolios with their values. This movement gained momentum in the 80s with the divestment campaigns against companies doing business in South Africa during apartheid. Over time, SRI slowly evolved to look much like today's corporate social responsibility, and was focused primarily on social issues such as human rights and supply chain ethics. Human rights. At face value, that sounds good, but things get a little bit murky later. However, it wasn't until the 90s that ESG considerations started to appear in mainstream investment strategies. In 1995, the US Social Investment Forum Foundation took inventory of all the sustainable investments in North America. The total, 639 billion USD. Not a small money. Relied on how shareholders were starting to invest out of principle versus strictly profit. Okay, sure. This is just history. Slowly but surely, institutional investors started to recognize that companies could potentially improve financial performance and risk management by focusing on ESG issues like greenhouse gas emissions. In response, asset managers began to develop ESG strategies and metrics to measure the environmental and social impact of their investments. And look, maybe all of this started as, yes, we want to actually do the right thing. That's not what's happening anymore. We will get to that later. But jeez. In 1997, the Global Reporting Initiative was founded with the aim of addressing environmental concerns, though it soon broadened its scope to also focus on social and governance issues. Once again, that seems a little bit strange to me. In 1998, John Elkington published Cannibals with Forks, the triple bottom line of 21st century business, in which he introduced the concept of the triple bottom line, a sustainability framework that revolves around the 3 Ps, pee-pee and poo-poo. I shouldn't be joking around, but yeah, then this is too serious for me. People, planet and profit. Okay. At face value, all of this makes sense. But then things get strange. Elkington's goal was to highlight a growing body of non-financial considerations that should be included when evaluating companies. Moral grandstanding. Literally. By the wrong admission. But so Elkington helped to persuade businesses to operate in the best interest of people and the planet, a desire that was shared by others around the world. Okay, sure. Sure, maybe. That's a little bit longer than I remember. But that's okay. I need to... There we go. Much better. ESG at the turn of the millennium. In 2000, the United Nations hosted world leaders in New York at the Millennium Summit to discuss their evolving role in the new millennia. Okay. Over the course of the 3-day summit, those established guiding principles around topics like human rights, working conditions, and environment and anti-corruption. And all of that sounds fantastic. Once again, anti-corruption. Yeah, that's probably the main issue here. That's not actually a thing anymore. Following the summit, the Millennium Development Goals were created, aligning 8 international development goals to be achieved by 2015. While meant to spark discussion, the MDGs ultimately set the stage for nations and corporations to discuss ESG factors more candidly. I took a look about those goals, and they're extremely esoteric. Like, yes, we have to vaccinate people. Okay, sure. How many? Percentage? Total number? No. Well, how are you supposed to accomplish that thing? Doing that with everyone? It is strange. It is strange. It's a lot of patting yourself on the back. Oh, look at that. Such good boys. Same year, the Carbon Disclosure Project was founded. The CDP, not to be mistaken with the CCP, okay? Encouraged institutional investors to ask companies to report on their climate impact. This helped normalize the practice of ESG reporting, and by 2002, 245 companies have responded to the 35 investors who asked for climate disclosures. I think we get a little bit more information on this when we get to the Global Compact. I have that up. 59 pages. We're not getting through all of that. I have notes. Luckily for me. That will take me too much time. It's unreasonable. In 2004, the term ESG became official after its first mainstream appearance in a portal Who Cares Wins. And this is what I have open up, okay? I think this is really important. And they bring up interesting points. Like 2004 already. The board illustrated how to integrate ESG factors into a company's operations, breaking down the concept into its 3 basic components: environment, social, and governance, or corporate governance. In the decade that followed, more principles and frameworks were created, providing further guidance on how companies can integrate and report on ESG factors. Some prominent examples include the Principles for Responsible Investment, the Climate Disclosure Standard Board, and the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. But today, companies and investors still rely on these principles and frameworks. I don't think it's on their best interest, but sure. And a drink. The last decade, involvement landscape. By 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals replaced the MDGs. Makes sense. The SDGs align 17 sustainability targets and set a global agenda for sustainable development with the hopes of improving quality of life and achieving a more sustainable future by 2030. Okay, 2030. Remember this number. It will be important later. If you know, you know. Oh yeah, they didn't give me a proper link. So sad. Well, brother, in their scope, the SDGs set specific targets. 169! Jeez, to be exact. With unique indicators to track progress. With their adoption, the SDGs marked a shift in the sociopolitical mindset. ESG was no longer a talking point, but something that could and should be measured. Okay. Investors continue to demand climate-related financial disclosures from companies. Several regulators responded with new reporting requirements. The Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosure was founded in 2015, with the goal of providing standards for climate-related disclosure for financial institutions as well as companies and investors. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. And I don't think most of this is extremely important. It's nice to know, but you see. We have some stuff here with ESG today and tomorrow. Batch of carbon emissions and whatnot. But let me open up my notes here on the side. And let's get to the who cares wins deal here. Okay. Who cares wins? Okay, sure. How about this? To the other screen. There we go. Global Compact. Connecting financial markets to a changing world. Recommendations by the financial industry to better integrate environmental, social, and governance issues in analysis, asset management, and securities brokerage. Okay. Okay. Endorsing institutions. Bunch of banks, mainly. But we can see. Oh! Goldman Sachs. Do you remember the name? I do. We have Morgan Stanley. I don't remember if that is JP Morgan or not. But we can see here. Bunch of banks and financial institutions, which is interesting. Through this report, the brand we refers to endorsing institutions listed above and not to the individuals that have contributed to producing this report. That makes sense. A bunch of contents here. Let's see. I have my notes up. Nothing to fear about. This report is the result of a joint initiative of financial institutions which were invited by the United Nations Secretary General Kofi fucking Annan to develop guidelines and recommendations on how to better integrate ESG in asset management, securities brokerage services, and associated research functions, and the financial institutions from 9 countries with total assets under management of over 6 trillion USD. A lot of money. Especially back then. I participated in developing this report. The initiative is supported by the chief executive officers of the endorsing institutions. The UN Global Compact oversaw the collaborative effort that led to this report, and the Swiss government provided the necessary funding. Interesting. Institutions endorsing this report are convinced that in a more globalized, interconnected, and competitive world, Jesus Christ, I'm struggling today. The way the environment and the ESG issues are managed is part of companies' overall management quality to compete successfully. But why? I still don't know why or how, which is funny. Companies that perform better with regard to these issues can increase shareholder value by, for example, properly managing risks, anticipating regulatory action, accessing new markets, while at the same time contributing to the sustainable development of the societies in which they operate. Societies. Okay. You guys keep saying that, but that's just a non sequitur, in my opinion. Moreover, these issues can have a strong impact on reputation and brands, an increasingly important part of company value. I can say that I'm not so sure about it. There's a paragraph here. Endorsing institutions are committed to start a process to further deepen, specify, and implement the recommendations outlined in this report by means of a series of individual and collaborative efforts at different levels. They're also keen to start a dialogue with other stakeholders. Do you remember that, guys? Stakeholders, again. One ways to implement the recommendations because they are convinced that only if all actors contribute to the integration of ESG in investment decisions can significant improvements in this field be achieved. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Yes, all ESG can only prosper if people adopt ESG. I don't like this PDF. It's so annoying to read. There's a bunch of repeated stuff and obvious stuff that's being said. But still, it's an official document. We need to get through it. The important next step, endorsing institutions plan to approach the relevant accounting standard setting, professional and self-regulatory organizations, and investor relations associations in order to ensure that their intentions are fully understood and supported. They invite the Global Compact or one of its implementing bodies to review Instead of the implementation of these report's recommendations, in a year's time with the goal of assessing how market actors have responded to the call for action by this report. Okay, we can go back. We can go down a little bit, I think. Yeah. Graphical summary of key recommendations. Overall goals: stronger and more resilient financial markets. Normal. Contribution to sustainable development. Normal. Awareness and mutual understanding of involved stakeholders again. Improved trust in financial institutions. Sure. Better investment markets, plus more sustainable societies. We have a bunch of stuff orbiting this, right? So, here. From the 12-hour mark. Analysts/brokers incorporate ESG factors into mainstream research. Okay. Investors/asset managers reward ESG research. Reward! They are saying this, not me. They are saying this. Integrate ESG factors in research and investment processes. Okay. Pension trustees. And that to me seems fucked up. That they keep bringing pensions into this. Consider integrating mandates and selection of managers. Governments/multilateral agencies. Practically consider in PF investment. Regulators/stock exchanges/governments. Implement reporting standards and listing particulars. NGOs. Provide objective ESG information on companies to the public and the financial community. Fucking NGOs. They're fucking plagued with this. Objective ESG information on companies to the public. Given how things are working nowadays, this sounds extremely scummy. Consultants combine ESG research with industry-level research. Support demand and awareness building. Accountants facilitate standardization. Educators. I don't think this refers to teachers, but find the terminology funny. Facilitate high-level thinking and training on ESG issues. And last, companies. Lead the way by implementing ESG principles and improving reporting and disclosure. This thing does not explain how to get benefits from this. They do. They actually do, but no, it's not done how you might think it's done, which is funny. Okay, let's keep going down. Exhibit 1. Brief description of the UN Global Compact. Launched in July 2000 by United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, the Global Compact is an international initiative bringing companies together with UN agencies, labor and civil society to supporting principles in the areas of human rights, working conditions, the environment, and anti-corruption. Once again, keep on moving. Through the power of collective action, the Global Compact seeks to advance responsible corporate citizenship so that business can be part of the solution to the challenges of globalization. In this way, the private sector, in partnership with other social actors, can help realize the Secretary General's vision, a more stable and inclusive global economy. Inclusive, by the way. That is quite telling to me. The Global Compact is a voluntary corporate citizenship initiative endorsed by companies from all regions of the world. Do we have a source for that? I guess they're thinking about the UN. In that case, yeah, sure. I guess that's true. It has two objectives: mainstream the 10 principles in business activities around the world, and catalyze actions in support of UN goals. UN goals. Remember that. That makes a lot of sense to me. To achieve these objectives, the Global Compact offers facilitation and engagement through several mechanisms. Ownership model, policy dialogues, learning, local networks, and projects. As of June 2004, more than 1,500 companies worldwide had committed to the Global Compact and its principles. Sure. The principles. Human rights. Businesses should support and respect the protection of internationally proclaimed human rights within their sphere of influence. Sure. and make sure that they are not complicit in human rights abuses. Sure, what's the problem? Once again, nowadays we call human rights fucking anything. Labor. Businesses should uphold the freedom of association and the effective recognition of the right to collective bargaining. Sure. The elimination of all forms of forced and compulsionary labor. Yeah, if only. If only that was the case. So we really need to talk about China. About China! Come on now. The effective abolition of child labor, if only. And eliminate discrimination in respect of employment and occupation. Eliminate discrimination in respect of employment and occupation. Sounds so good. But that's not actually happening, is it? Which is funny. It is funny. Businesses should support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges, I guess, and take initiatives to promote greater environmental responsibility. Sounds silly. Encourage the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. That sounds good to me. Not gonna lie, that sounds good. Anti-corruption. Businesses should work against corruption in all its forms, including extortion and bribery. Jesus Christ, if only this was true. If only. But that's not the case. And there's probably one of the main issues. Actually. Let's see. We have to go down. There's a bunch of stuff here. You can read it if you want it. I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, considerations. Yes, this is the point. A bunch of stuff here. Ultimately, a successful investment depends on a vibrant economy. Yeah, no shit. Which depends on a healthy civil society, which is ultimately dependent on a sustainable planet in the long term. Therefore, investment markets have a clear self-interest in contributing to better management of environmental and social impacts in a way that contributes to the sustainable development of global society. Is it though? I don't know what to tell you. A better inclusion of ESG factors in investment decisions will ultimately contribute to more stable and predictable markets, which is in the interest of all market actors. Sure. You keep saying that. You keep saying that. I don't know. I don't know about that. To some extent, financial markets are already factoring in environmental and social issues, but often only if they are seen as being material to value creation and risk in the short term. Well, no shit. They are not good people, they're there for profit. What do you mean? In addition, we believe that markets do not yet fully recognize the importance of new emerging trends, such as the growing pressure on companies to improve corporate governance, transparency and accountability, and the increasing importance of reputation risks related to ESG. Reputation risks. I think this is a really big takeaway. It's all about having the correct opinions, after all. Integration of these aspects in investment decisions is increasingly viewed as falling within the scope of the fiduciary duty of trustees, financial advisors, asset managers, and intermediary institutions, and therefore needs to be addressed effectively by all involved market actors. Then why do you keep fucking over shareholders, though? Where's your fiduciary duty for them? We recognize that a series of barriers have in the past hindered a better integration of ESG factors. CEOs and CFOs, recently interviewed by the fucking World Economic Forum. We're getting there, boys. For example, stress that intangible aspects related to ESG issues play an increasingly important role in value creation, but that analysts' short-term focus hinders them in recognizing this trend. Challenges cited by the WEF survey include problems of definition of ESG issues, which that is hilarious. Problems of making and measuring the business case. Problems with the quality and quantity of information. Problems of skill and competence. Problems of different time horizons. Which makes sense to me. Let's see. A selection of ESG issues impacting company and investment value. Is it though? As ESG issues relevant to investment decisions and differ across regions and sectors. Yes. Following are examples of issues with a broad range of impacts on companies. Environmental. Climate change and related risks. Okay. We need to reduce toxic release and waste. Okay, that is reasonable, I guess. When possible, at least, you know. New regulation expanding the boundaries of environmental liability with regard to products and services. Okay. There's some pressure by civil society to improve performance, transparency, and accountability. Into reputational risks, again, with this. If not managed properly, emerging markets for environmental services and environment-friendly products. This could be important, but once again, it's just having the correct opinions. By their own admission. I don't know. It's weird to me. Social issues, workplace health and safety. Sure. Community relations. Ah? Sure? Why? I don't understand. Human rights issues at company and suppliers slash contractors' premises. This again. Government and community relations in the context of operations in developing countries. Okay, what? There's some pressure by civil society to improve performance, transparency, and accountability. And to the reputational risks, once again, if not managed properly. Corporate governance issues. Board structure and accountability. Accounting and disclosure practices, audit committee structure and independence of auditors, executive compensation. I think executive compensation is already too high. Fucking gold parachutes. We don't like those. Management of corruption and bribery issues. If only, dude. If only that was the case. But no. What else? What else do we have here? There's more of the same we've seen already. There's a lot of repeated stuff. It is horrible. Okay, what is the exhibit? Exhibit 9. I thought this was important. Drivers through which good management of ESG issues can contribute to shareholder value creation. Finally! Finally! Early identification of emerging risks, threats, and management failures. Maybe, if that's the case. Sure. New business opportunities. Maybe. Customer satisfaction and loyalty. I don't think this is exclusive to ESG, but sure. This is important by itself, at least. Reputation as an attractive employer. Reputation. Again. For employees, I guess that's more important, at least. Alliances and partnerships with business partners and stakeholders. Stakeholders, again. Again. Enhanced reputation and brands. Reduce regulatory intervention. Yeah, that's gonna sound really attractive for any company. Cost savings, access to capital, lower cost of capital, better risk management, and lower risk level. So, here, by their own admission, lower regulations, which that's always really attractive, and free money. Jeez, I wonder why people get on board with this. Having the correct opinions gets you free money? Yes, officer, I have all the correct opinions. Quite disgusting. Okay, let's see. Any clients needs? Where is that? Okay. We welcome these initiatives because they support better disclosure and transparency by companies and the efforts of financial market actors to better integrate these issues in the investment value chain. We still need to see the value. Clearly, it is client demand that will most effectively trigger change in the financial industry. Client demand, Doku. That said, we believe that in addition to requesting better integration of ESG factors, clients must also be prepared to explicitly demand and reward better research and investment services taking into account ESG aspects. So, clients had to be the fucking Gestapo here. You will have the correct opinions. Given the importance of pension funds in the world of asset management, trustees and their consultants can play a pivotal role in requesting better coverage of ESG issues, investment mandates, and the underlying research. Consultants and financial advisors also have an important role to play in creating greater and more stable demand for ESG research. Are you sure about that? Let's see. Recommendations. There's some good stuff here, I'm pretty sure. We encourage pension fund trustees and their selection consultants to consider integrating ESG issues into the formulation of investment mandates and the selection of investment managers. Hold up, I lost my place. Taking into account their fiduciary obligations and participants and beneficiaries. We believe that governments and multilateral agencies should proactively consider the investment of their pension funds according to the principles of sustainable development, taking into account their fiduciary obligations to participants and beneficiaries. Why do you keep touching the fucking pensions? I don't like that. Consultants and financial advisors should support the integration of ESG criteria by combining ESG research with industry-level research and sharing their experience with financial actors and companies in order to improve ESG reporting. We urge investors to explicitly request and reward research that includes environment, ESG, and to reward well-managed companies. You have to reward the practices. They're getting puffed loud. It was just that easy. Asset managers should integrate research and such aspects in investment decisions and encourage brokers and companies to provide better research and information. We encourage brokers and asset managers to move actively forge partnerships with institutional clients with a stated or potential interest in ESG research and raise the awareness of clients on the relevance of ESG issues to their investments. Once again, all of this, to me, seems like economic tricks. And this is going to work because we're going to convince everyone that this is important and it's working. Is this a smoke screen? Seems like it to me. We invite investors to develop proxy voting guidelines clarifying their position on ESG issues. This will support asset managers and analysts in producing relevant research and implementing proxy voting strategies. Okay, let's see. Where's the next point? This one. Investor networks and climate change. In November 2003, the United Nations convened a summit of institutional investors in the US, controlling more than 1 trillion USD in assets. I think this is the important part. This works. They can convince people because they have a fuck ton of money. In several states, state and city treasurers to discuss climate change risks. This group set up an investor network on climate risk and issued a 10-point call for action, including the SEC to enforce corporate disclosure of climate change risks, companies to imagine greenhouse gas producing sectors to report to shareholders on the financial implications of climate change, including regulation and competition. This is all Greek energy BS. And it's so sad because it doesn't work. Investment managers to include climate change in their analysis. Again, the summit, California State Treasurer Phil Angelides commented, Global warming, we are facing enormous risk to the US economy and to retirement funds that Wall Street has so far chosen to ignore. The corporate scandals over the last couple of years have made it clear that investors need to pay more attention to corporate practices that affect long-term value. As fiduciaries, we must take it upon ourselves to identify the emerging environmental challenges facing the companies in which we are shareholders, to demand more information and to spur needed actions to respond to those challenges. Climate change, such a big problem, man. I remember, back in the 90s, how New York got completely flooded and they all died. Right? They wouldn't be lying to me. In the UK, the Institutional Investors Group on Climate Change has together 19 funds with assets totaling £450 billion to focus on investment risks and opportunities in this area. It has produced reports on aviation and power generation, analyzing the investment issues from a move to a low-carbon economy. Low-carbon economy, remember this, it will be important. In both cases, the analysis concluded that the sectors would be significantly affected and that the impacts would vary significantly from company to company, with clear implications of sector weightings and stock selection. Sure. And I have to wonder if all of this has to do with the Kyoto Protocol, because that was a thing that wasn't really enforced. It was more voluntary than anything else. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was actually only government and not companies. I don't remember. Let's see. I keep going down. I keep going down. Pharmaceutical and extractive industries. Sure. Let's see. Change. I think I'm missing some stuff here. Yes, I am. What the hell did I escape here? Okay, hold up. Hold up. There we go. Increasing integration of ESG factors in UK pension funds management. Following an amendment and the Pension Act, which came to effect in 2000, trustees are now required to include in their statement of investment principles comment on the extent to which, if at all, their investment decisions take account of ESG issues. Disgusting. Research has shown that many trustees have responded positively to this requirement. Almost £90 billion of pension funds UK equity holdings are now subject to some form of socially responsible investment policy. But why? Equivalent to almost a quarter of the sector's total UK holdings. Why is that a thing? That sounds slimy, and it is slimy. Year 2000. This figure is based on SAP statements. In practical terms, in many cases, this has not led to a substantial change in investment practice. I wonder about that. Recommendations. M. I have the M point here. Why? While supporting a thoughtful and creative process led by the analysts, we encourage financial institutions to explore ways to more systematically integrate ESG in research. We encourage analysts to prioritize ESG issues on the basis of their potential impact on financial value and on sector-by-sector basis. In each case, the time scale over which issues might become relevant should be analyzed. Financial institutions should support the work of analysts with the necessary training, resources, and tools. They had to keep hitting themselves, I guess. Here we have examples of traditional and emerging ESG issues in different sectors. Traditional issues: oil spills, CO2 emissions, field safety, brand and reputation risk, biosafety, animal welfare, safety requirements, CO2 emissions again. different industries after all. Emerging issues. Socioeconomic impacts. The fuck? Government relations and revenue sharing. Government relations maybe. Revenue sharing? Why? I don't get it. Functional food regulation. Nutritional value, especially in low-carb diets. Maybe. It's not like anything is better right at the moment. National healthcare systems. Patent rights. They love those. Environmental effects of compounds, if only. Do we have to bring up the gay frogs again? And similar stuff? I don't think we do. Mobility and socioeconomic impacts. Socioeconomic again, I don't know why. Low emission regulations. Sure, I guess. Take into account the specific situation of emerging countries. I'm gonna skip this. At the moment I don't think that it is that important, but TLDR, get them while they are young. Okay, let's go to conclusions and I'll look. Two and three, okay. The important next step, we plan to approach the relevant accounting standard setting bodies, professional self-regulatory organizations, and investor relations associations, in order to ensure that our intentions are fully understood and supported. We also plan to use platforms provided by initiatives such as the UNEP Finance Initiative, the Conference Board, the World Economic Forum, and others to start an in-depth dialogue with the key stakeholders again mentioned in this report, including investors, companies, regulators, stock exchanges, accountants, consultants, and NGOs. We're keen to learn their views and are interested in starting a process of communication and mutual learning in implementing the recommendations. Sure. They have here a proposal for reviewing implementation, which is the last thing we need to look at. Investors. Investors specify their privacy voting guidelines on ESG matters. Trustees and their selection consultants consider integrating ESG issues into the formulation of investment mandates and the selection of investment managers, taking into account their fiduciary obligations, participants and beneficiaries. Once again, I don't think that is the case actually. Government and multilateral agency pension funds start considering the principles of sustainable development in their investments, which is slimy as fuck. Fair management and boards taking a leadership role, asset managers explicitly requesting and rewarding research on ESG criteria. You had to get on board. After all, buy-side, sell-side, and emerging market investment research teams being appropriately equipped to integrate ESG issues into fundamental company analysis. They keep saying that, but I don't know about it, man. Analyst performance and incentive systems rewarding ESG research. Capital markets. Stock exchange inclusion of ESG criteria, and the list in particulars for companies and/or communication of the importance of ESG. How are we making money with this, though? Accounting bodies and rating agencies, integration of ESG into their framework, and global reporting initiative interactions with local and international financial analysis associations. You have to get on board. You get a bunch of benefits, like free fucking money. That's how this works. So, then we have mention of the WEF and 2030. So, I remember. Oh, 2030 agenda. I remember that. I remember that from the World Economic Forum. And they nuked that. Luckily for us. There's always a copy somewhere. I managed to find this thing in Spanish, I think? In their web. With a quick translation software. I was compared the two. It's pretty much the same. I'm gonna be using this one because it's probably just a copy paste from the WF. And this is what they want to achieve by 2030, by their own admission. Oh, we don't like Brexit. We don't like Orange Men. They're so evil. So evil. That's it. All products will have become services. And oh boy, are they trying. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or any clothes. Right, then you should be Ida Auken. Shopping is a distant memory of in the city of 2030, whose inhabitants have cracked clean energy and bought what they need on demand. It sounds utopian. No, it doesn't. Until she mentions that her every move is tracked outside the city, live swaths of discontents, ultimate vision of a society split in two. Also, let me tell you, clean energy. It's been 20 years since the PDF we read. They still don't work. And you might be thinking, how is that possible? Well, I have no idea. And nowadays they still don't have batteries. So it cannot work. There's no sun, no energy. No wind, no energy. What the hell are you gonna do then? You get fucked. Invest in nuclear. There's a global price on carbon. Like that. China took the lead in 2017 with a market for trading the right to emit a ton of CO2, setting the world on a path towards a single carbon price and a powerful incentive to ditch fossil fuels, predicts Jane Barston, head of climate and environment at the UK's National Physical Laboratory. Europe, meanwhile, found itself at the center of the trade in cheap, efficient solar panels as prices for renewables fell sharply. Cheap, efficient solar panels. Me when I lie? Jesus Christ. No, they're not. They're not useless. But you cannot live... No, you cannot provide energy to a city just with this. It doesn't work. By design, what do you mean? Yes, the minutes is over. We have a handful of global powers. Nation states will have a stage they come back, writes Robert Muga? That's a dangerous name. Research Director at the Ibaraki Institute? That's a dangerous name again. What is happening here? Instead of a single force, a handful of countries, the US, Russia, China, Germany, India and Japan, chief among them, show semi-imperial tendencies. Okay. However, at the same time, the role of the state is threatened by trends including the rise of cities and the spread of online identities. How? Okay. Fan fiction, baby. Farewell Hospital. Hello Hospital. Technology will have further disrupted disease. No, I don't believe that. Writes Melanie Walker, medical doctor and World Bank advisor. The hospital as we know it will be on its way out, with fewer accidents, thanks to self-driving cars. No. Have you seen TikTok? Nah. And great strides in preventive and personalized medicine. Scalpels and organ donors are out. Tiny robotic tubes and bioprinted organs are in. Look. Bioprinted organs sound cool as fuck. This is the WEF. It's gonna be horrible. Dystopian. We're eating much less meat, but why though? Rather like our grandparents, we'll treat meat as a treat. We will treat meat as a treat. That sounds extremely wrong to me. I'm doing a staple, writes Tim Benton, Professor of Population Ecology at the University of Leeds, UK. It won't be big agriculture or little artisan producers that win, but rather a combination of the two. What are you smoking? With convenience food redesigned to be healthier and less harmful to the environment. Healthier for the environment, not for human consumption. Do I have to bring up the insect flour? That shit was in schools in Italy last year or 2 years ago without notice. Shit's happening already. Today's Syrian refugees, 2030 CEOs. Wow, that doesn't sound good. Highly educated Syrian refugees will have come of age by 2030, making the case for the economic integration of those who have been forced to flee conflict. The world needs to be better prepared for populations on the move, writes Lauren Solis, founder and CEO of the NGO Blue Rose Compass. Climate change will have displaced 1 billion people. Jesus Christ! I am not as creative as this, I have to admit. This is really impressive. Really impressive fanfiction. Jeez. Highly educated refugees. Keep smoking. That's not what's happening at all. Also, climate change will have displaced 1 billion people. No. No. I guess this is trying to propagate the idea that these are climate refugees. No, there's war. What do you mean? There's a fucking war there. What do you mean? Disgusting. The violence that built the West will have been tested to the breaking point. They say that as if that was good. We forget the checks and balances that bolster our democracies at our peril, writes Kenneth Roth, Executive Director of Human Rights Watch. Federal majoritarianism and the attacks on our system of checks and balances is perhaps the greatest danger today to the future of Western democracies. I agree, but that doesn't mean what you think it means, which is funny. In the 2030s, we'll be ready to move humans toward the Red Planet. If only, keep them there. What's more, once we get there, we'll probably discover evidence of alien life, that's Ellen Stofan, chief scientist at NASA. Big science will help us to answer big questions about life on Earth, as well as opening up practical applications for space technology. I read this elsewhere, and they also mentioned stuff like... Oh, no, it was not here. It was not here. Ah, shit, I didn't want to say it then. Fuck. Yeah, I remember seeing something as, yeah, we're gonna go to the moon to get water. The fuck? So yeah, I understand people that don't want to get too much into this. And they just want to grill, you know, but... How are you gonna grill? When you cannot eat meat. We can open this up. Let's see. What will we eat in 2030? This is long as fucking, I don't like it. Yeah, 500 grams per person per week is healthy meat consumption. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. I'm not reading this now. Also, I think I need to open up something else here, which is also quite important. Let me get the link. There we go. That's a little bit long, but that's okay. And now, you might be thinking, "Jeez, man, if they keep giving free money with all this stuff, how is it? How didn't they crash?" Oh, baby, they're crashing. They're crashing really bad, actually. They're even briefing how BlackRock lost 1.7 trillion in 6 months. Get got up. July 20th, 2022. I mentioned this guy, Sam Bankman-Fried. Didn't explain how they lost the money in here, which is absolutely fucking funny. We also have Let me see if this is the correct link, which I'm not sure. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. BlackRock helps ESG funds as firm steps back from label. Yep. They keep closing ESG funds. What about abroad? They keep saying that I'm going fast with this at the moment. BlackRock gets legal warning over ESG funds from Mississippi, March 28th, 2024. Jeez, this was last week. So interesting. Thing is, many of BlackRock's acts, practices, and courses of business operate or will operate as a fraud or deceit among investors and potential investors in Mississippi. Let's see how this ends up, because it is quite interesting. There comes 3 months after Tennessee, oh man, filed a lawsuit against BlackRock, claiming the firm breached consumer protection laws by making misleading statements about its ESG strategy. Chief Executive Officer Larry Fink, we know about that guy, has said he no longer uses the ESG label because it's become too politicized. Yeah, it does. It does still refer to the transition to clean energy, a key tenet of ESG investing. And they're trying to get a little bit cocky here too, right? Just last week, the Texas State Board of Education announced its plans to pull about $8.5 billion from BlackRock, the largest amount withdrawn from the money manager tied to the political backlash. The firm said the decision ignores our $120 billion USD investment in Texas public energy companies and defies expert advice. Why are the experts here? You? So silly. So silly. And make no mistake about it. This is not dying, this is not going away. And we will see that in depth when we get in just a little bit in DEI shenanigans. They have a lot of money, they're starting to lose money. But it's not enough. It's not enough. Because they have a lot of people on board. So they can get that money and more back. It's just like a fucking mafia. And then you might be thinking, okay, but this is just for companies, right? This is not going to affect the normal people. If only that was the case. How to calculate your individual ESG score from the impact investor. Let's see. I read this, but I want to skim a little bit. This is really long. It is interesting, don't get me wrong, but it's quite long. What are personal ESG scores? Definition and purpose. Important stuff. Personal ESG score evaluates an individual's performance and impact based on 3 main factors: environmental, social, and governance. Yes. As ESG criteria assess business sustainability and ethics, a personal ESG score offers insight into a person's commitment to sustainable practices and responsible decision-making. The purpose behind personal ESG scores involves promoting more mindful behaviors towards the environment and society. That is, having the correct opinions. And by holding individuals accountable for their actions, these scores encourage better choices and habits, leading to positive change on a larger scale. Since this is still a relatively new concept, this is from over last year, I think. The current level of transparency is a bit murky. Yeah, no shit. In many cases, people are generally unaware that they even have an ESG score. Yeah? Yeah. For example, consumers who have accounts with Merrill Lynch will be able to view their score, whatever that may be. Lenders will use this system to choose who they extend services or credit. The main reason is that companies, including lenders, are created according to the ESG standards. Their business and prosperity depend directly on their hiring practices, gender diversity, social and environmental impact, and other ESG factors. By their own fucking admission. As they must prove their case, they must also show that their clients meet the standards they're being graded. Do you remember some time ago, people were talking about, ooh, social credit score, scary stuff. And I think it was motherfucking Alex Jones saying, you know, that's gonna be your carbon footprint. That's gonna determine your ESG score, your social credit score. He was right. It's here. This is literally social credit score. If you don't have the correct opinions, well, maybe you don't get money from the bank and whatnot. The evaluation process. Let's get to that. During the assessment process, your personal ESG score is calculated based on 3 main factors: E, S, and G. Nothing new. Your purchase history, sales history, and public records, such as your credit report, are considered to gauge your impact on the environment and society. Wow, the accent is so cool. Thank you, Steph Bear. Welcome, we are talking serious stuff today. I've been told that I sound German when I'm sick. I don't know what to make about that. This process helps highlight areas where you can improve your ESG performance or showcase your dedication toward sustainable and ethical practices. Environmental. Carbon footprint. I just want a grill. You won't even have a grill. It's so sad. But you know, a lot of people don't even know about this. It is so sad. Energy consumption. Why do you care? I already pay for it. And waste management practices. Social. Charitable contributions, community engagements, and employment practices are assessed here. So you need to be a good boy and donate to charity now? You have to. It's not optional anymore. God damn. Governance. This component considers your ethical behavior, decision-making transparency, and regulation adherence. Ethical behavior? Yes, literally social credit score. Which sounds crazy. It's not me who is saying this. It's them. They're saying this stuff. I'm not crazy. I might be going crazy. But that's different. Issues for consideration. Let's see. No, I thought this would be more like evaluation process, but maybe not. I read this last week, I don't remember. I don't remember anymore. Where's my ESG score? They recommend here some... I think, if you want to check that out. I'm not gonna do it. This is dystopian. Oh, let's see, more factors. I love seeing the factors. It's so funny. Environmental factors. I love lists. They're so funny to read. Using energy efficient appliances and light bulbs. I already pay for that. Not enough, apparently. Incorporating renewable energy sources into your home. Why do you care about that? Purchasing locally produced and sustainable goods. Well, I can agree to that, at least. At least on food. Local is usually way better than, you know, from outside. Especially if you see how, when importing food, they don't apply the same regulations as local. I don't like that. I don't like that. They should. They should. Opting for public transportation or using electric or hybrid vehicles. That's my decision to make. I pay for this! Well, we're saying that you don't actually control your own money. That stuff this week with DL site. That, yeah, MasterCard and Visa said no. So we cannot sell stuff to people outside of Japan. Even when it's your own fucking money. Jeez. It is. It is disgusting. It is foul. But this is the world we're living. Or we're gonna live in. So sad. Social diversity. Embrace and support diversity in your personal and professional relationships. Look. If I'm being charitable, professional, sure. Personal? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I live in a quite a homogeneous place. Do I need to import a black friend now? Or a Chinese friend? Or what? That is so strange to me. Human rights. Be aware of your impact on the well-being of others and seek to promote human rights through responsible consumer choices, buying fair trade products, and participating in charitable activities. Every time they say human rights, I'm gonna skip it. Every time it's anything can be a human right. Shut up. Shut up. This is not a war crime. Community engagement. Get involved in local initiatives geared towards improving the quality of life in your community, such as volunteering, supporting local businesses, attending public meetings. But why? But why? Shouldn't this be my decision to make? In a normal country, yeah. Under social credit score? Not anymore. Do you like China? You better. You're living in one. Practice deliberative and transparent decision-making processes in both your personal and professional settings. What? I don't understand. Maintaining integrity and honesty in all your actions, avoiding conflicts of interest and embracing accountability. Adhere to relevant laws, regulations, and industry standards that govern your personal and professional activities. This is dystopian. This is quite literally dystopian. Jeez, man. You must have the correct opinions at all times. You thought this was 2024. Jokes on you. It was actually 1984. Sad, but true. What you gonna do about it? Well, you gotta suffer for it, I guess. You gotta suffer for it, man! It's so bad. So yeah, this is the final stage of ESG. Social Credit Fucking Score. And we haven't gotten to DEI yet. It's much shorter, luckily for me, because I'm dying already. Actually, let me take a drink here. I have a fantastic article from the Washington Post, which is a reputable source, and they do not agree with my opinions. So let's see, this is from the Wayback Machine, because this chuckle fox wanted me to register. Registering. Fuck off. From March 9th, this year. Okay, this year. So let's see. The history of the AI. As the Supreme Court ruled race-based college admissions unconstitutional last June, based. Affirmative action in all forms has come under attack, based. Okay. So let's see. Such policies divided Americans long before President John F. Kennedy popularized the term in 1961, when he urged defense contractors to take affirmative action to hire workers without regard to their race, creed, color, or national origin. Okay. Even these policies have fueled upward mobility for women and minority groups, they have faced intense backlash. Here's a look at the history of affirmative action and the movements that have advanced and repelled it. Remember, advance on the right, yellow or orange, good. Repelled on the left, red, bad. Also, it's funny that they're already saying affirmative action here. I could stop here. Honestly, I just could stop here. But let's real about this, okay? Because it's so funny. We start our trouble in 1865. First steps toward equal rights. I don't know too much about this. At least in this time frame. So I don't really have too much to say about it. Some of this stuff makes sense to me, at least. Various forms of affirmative action date to Reconstruction, the turbulent period after the Civil War. Slavery is outlawed in 1865, emancipating 4 million black men, women, and children. But freedom comes with no rights or protections. Well, yeah. I don't think people understand what freedom is. Forced to remedy this legal limbo, ignite fierce pushback, including claims of discrimination against white people. In the late 1870s, southern states started enacting Jim Crow laws that enforce segregation in public transportation, schools, parks, cemeteries, theaters, and restaurants. Which is funny, because this is happening again. This shit is happening again, and not because of the white supremacists. So strange. So strange. I don't understand this world. Not anymore. It establishes the Freedmen's Bureau. The bureau provides food, shelter, medical services, and land. I don't know how I should feel about that. This place blacks, the blacks. I'm just reading, okay. From the South, whose prior status as enslaved peoples leaves them without economic means or legal protection, and vulnerable to assault by Southern whites, the whites. It also establishes schools, supervises contracts, and manages confiscated and abandoned lands. Okay. Sure. Here's passes first civil rights law. 1866. While the 13th Amendment allowed slavery and left the formerly enslaved without legal rights and vulnerable to Southern black codes that functionally re-enslaved them, the Civil Rights Act, under the 14th Amendment, offers protection establishing citizenship for emancipated African Americans, including the right to own land and create and enforce contracts to sue and be sued. They are just citizens. Makes sense. Makes sense. Jason's vetoes it. In 2 weeks. This fucking guy. President Andrew Johnson imposed the legislation, arguing that it discriminates against whites. Not yet, but it will come, don't worry about it. Congress overrides his veto, but enforcement withers after 1877. When Reconstruction ends and southern states and municipalities begin enacting Jim Crow laws to segregate citizens by race, the lynching of black people becomes common. That is fucked up. That is fucked up. The Freedmen's Bureau closes. Facing resistance from Southerners and focused on other national matters, Congress defunds the Bureau. Unlucky. And now we jump in time to 1961. Nearly a century later, African Americans remain largely locked out of the skilled workforce. A 1960 report by the Department of Labor finds that black workers make 60% less on average than whites. Is this like the fucking wage gap? That's not a thing. Was it in the same position? I'm willing to believe it. It was the 60s. But at the same time, was it? If it was, sure. If it was not, you don't have a right to speak BS. I'm sorry. Meanwhile, the modern civil rights movement begins challenging segregation in the South, and the landmark Brown versus Board of Education case leads to the desegregation of public schools. Okay, I think we can agree with that. March 1961, getting issues first affirmative action directive, which sounds okay, but it has been bastardized to no end. I'm still full of chicken. It was important to know. Responding to growing demands for racial equality, Kennedy signs an executive order requiring federal contractors to take affirmative action to ensure that applicants are employed and employees are treated equally, I guess, during employment without regard to the race, creed, or nationality. Yes, yes. All of these immutable characteristics shouldn't matter, but they matter again nowadays. The order is unevenly enforced. Many contractors, especially in states more than the South, ignore the order, keeping the workforces segregated and hiring mostly whites. Was it because they were black? Or was it because they didn't have the skills? that's a consideration to have, especially with what we're seeing nowadays. I'm not saying they were not racist, I don't know, I wasn't there. However, there's another possible explanation for that. Just saying. Jason signs the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Congress approves the civil legislation, which includes sections aimed at ending discrimination in the private sector and in federally funded programs, with bipartisan support. President Lyndon B. Johnson signs an executive order strengthening Kennedy's affirmative action order for government contractors. Confusion over implementation. You're so confused. Many businesses are confused about how to comply with the new laws, which encourage them to diversify their workforces while prohibiting discrimination. That already sounds strange, and this is just the 64. Critics say that they will result in preferential treatment of black Americans, claims that persist for decades. Look, they do have a point. I haven't read this law. Not my country, not my business. Maybe I should have because I'm talking about this. Maybe. I read too much this week already. Cut me some slack, please. Encourage them to diversify their workforces. Wouldn't that mean that they have to, quote-unquote, have to hire people because of their race and not because of their skill? You can make that argument. 1969, affirmative action booms. The beginning of the end. For normal people, I mean. Widespread adoption of affirmative action and equal opportunity measures leads to real-world advances. In 1969, the average income of non-white young college-educated men is 98% of the average of US workers. Okay, that seems right. See, they said young college-educated men. That's at least not as generalized as they were saying before. And we see the difference is pretty much negligible. And from just 80% a decade earlier, according to a 1973 study, which attributes the improvement to a future collapse in traditional discriminatory patterns in the labor market. That sounds good to me. The wage gains coincide with an explosion in the number of black people enrolling in colleges. 417,000 in 1970, up 83% from a decade earlier. Well, maybe they're getting more money because they have higher education. That could be the case. I'm not saying it is, but that could be the case. When served in several cities, with President Richard motherfucking Nixon, I guess the M is for motherfucker, I don't know, to oversee a vast expansion of federal programs for minorities, some of which continue today. I don't like that. Meanwhile, the US Supreme Court issues decisions that will define affirmative action in universities for generations. I don't think that's good, actually. Philadelphia is slated to receive millions for schools, dorms, libraries, and a new US Mint. The Nixon administration chooses the city for a new program to boost African American employment in the construction industry. The plan forces construction unions to integrate, and the initiative is expanded to New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and other cities. They are forced to integrate. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about the government meddling with companies. I don't know. Plan faces resistance. Philadelphia constructors sue, alleging the plan creates hiring quotas that violate the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the losing court. Clarence Mitchell, chief lobbyist for the NAACP, denounces the plan as a calculated attempt by Nixon, a Republican, to drive a wedge between two traditional Democratic factions, blacks and unions. The argument can be made, still. Colleges adopt affirmative action. In the early 70s, the University of California and Davis Medical School where only 3% of applicants are minorities, sets aside 16 of 100 spots for disadvantaged applicants. Other type of schools, including Harvard, form their own policies. A UC Davis applicant sues, alleging that disadvantaged students with lower test scores have been admitted over him. That's probably the case. That's probably believable. The case, Regents of the University of California versus Bake, I guess that's the correct pronunciation, leads to a 1917 Supreme Court ruling that universities cannot use quotas but can factor race into admissions decisions to promote campus diversity. It's not a quota, but it's still a factor of race, which is still racist by definition. Okay? And to be fair, setting aside 16% of spots for disadvantaged applicants, that's literally a quota, okay? While the big case challenges racial preferences in universities, a case brought by a steel plant worker challenges their use in the private sector. In 1974, Brian Weber sues the United Steelworkers of America, which had agreed with Kaiser Aluminum and Chemical Corp to reserve a certain number of skilled training positions for black workers. Weber has denied the position, alleges that Kaiser's affirmative action plan violates the 1964 Civil Rights Act. The Supreme Court rules 5-2 that the plan, and therefore other involuntary plans, do not violate the Act, but rather fulfill its intent. It is still discrimination, though. So, they are making... Okay. With this ruling, the Supreme Court is saying that yes, the 64 Civil Rights Act, it's pro-racism. Strange. Against colorblind America. Let's see. Clarence Thomas, the future Supreme Court Justice and House critic of affirmative action, is named to chair the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which enforces workplace anti-discrimination laws. Now Thomas cases pile up, which stymies, I'm not sure, enforcement. This is apparently bad. Reagan fails to change federal contracting rules. Plans like that Reagan intends to replace Johnson's executive order mandating affirmative action benchmarks for government contractors, sparking objections from civil rights groups as well as some Republicans and businesses. Companies such as pharmaceutical giant Merck signal that they intend to keep their affirmative action programs with or without the order, and Reagan ultimately backs off. This thing is good. That becomes entrenched. Now we're in the 90s. Employment protection for disabled Americans. The provisions of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 take effect, ban discrimination against people with disabilities for the first time in the private sector. That makes sense to me, but it depends on the disability and the job. If you're in a wheelchair, maybe being a firefighter is not the best choice, right? Just an example. This is private sector, but come on now. Standards for considering race. In Adrian Constructors Inc. versus Pena, the Supreme Court sets new standards for when federal, state, and local governments may take race into account. Strange. Ruling that programs designed to benefit racial minorities must serve a compelling government interest and must be narrowly tailored to further that interest. That's still racism. It's still seen as good. Interesting. Sitting with white law school applicants in Hellwood versus Texas, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit bars the University of Texas School of Law from using race as a factor in admissions. This is the first successful legal challenge to university affirmative action policies on Spake. This is seen as bad, which is funny. California voters approve Proposition 209, allowing discrimination of preferences for any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, Jesus Christ, I'm struggling here, or national origin, in public employment, education, and contracting. This thing is bad. TechStack agrees to pay 176 million USD to black employees after the EEOC determines it had failed to fully promote or compensate black workers. The company is ordered to raise all black employee salaries 10% across the board, establishing an equality task force. But why? That thing is good. That's kinda fucked up. Federal bond fails. You have a partisan vote in the House Judiciary Committee votes 17 to 9 to read the Civil Rights Act of 1997, which would have banned affirmative action in federal government. George Gekes, who moves to table the bill, says pressing the issue at this time could jeopardize the daily progress being made in ensuring equality. We have to be equal by being unequal. This thing is good. Washington State bans affirmative action. Recent voters passed Initiative 200, which bans affirmative action in hiring, public contracting, and higher education. This thing is bad. The same for Florida, under motherfucking Jeb Bush. This thing is bad. Being against discrimination is bad. This is all about DEI, by the way. Remember, business over diversity. Coca-Cola settles 182 million discrimination suit. They agreed to pay that amount to black workers who claim the company had systematically denied them opportunities and had created a racially hostile environment. They admit to no wrongdoing, but also agreed to make significant changes to its performance evaluation and promotion practices. Strange. The Supreme Court weighs in on two cases involving affirmative action admissions policies. In grads, the court rules against undergraduate admissions policy that relies on a formulaic point system for people in various racial groups, determining it was not narrowly tailored. We don't know about that. In Gratter, the court upholds the law school's admissions policy, and the compelling interest of educational benefits that flow from a diverse student body. Student body? Look, if it was teachers, maybe. What is the benefit from having a diverse student body? I don't understand. Michigan bans affirmative action. That thing is bad. Affirmative action for K-12. That's bad. Arizona bans affirmative action. That thing is bad again. The and beyond. There we go. New Hampshire bans affirmative action, and that thing is bad. Once again, keep on moving. Supreme Court reaffirms the legality of race-conscious college admissions in Fisher vs. University of Texas, ruling that the use of race as a factor at the University of Texas at Austin is well-founded and narrowly tailored. Is it though? I thought this was illegal. The DEI boom 2020. St. Floyd's murder and subsequent protests spark a rush of boardroom commitments. Companies around the world spend an estimated 7.5 billion USD on DEI programs and hire chief DEI officers because they were fucking scared of the riots. I think that's easy to understand. Washington Governor Jay Inslee resents the state's affirmative action ban in place since the 98th, and announces an executive order meant to boost diversity in government contracting. But why? The Supreme Court bars race-based admissions. Appending decades of legal precedent, the Supreme Court rules that race-conscious college admissions programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina are unconstitutional. You can make the argument that that's a federal law, federal crime. Asking colleges and universities to shift to race-neutral policies. That is seen as fucking bad, by the way. What is next? After affirmative action is banned from college admissions, DEI becomes a lightning rod. Dozens of bills targeting DEI policies in higher education are pending across the country. Companies are facing challenges to diversity policies from the shareholders and conservative activists. Some top law firms have opened race-focused fellowships to applicants of all races. How the fuck is that bad? The battle is likely to heat up in 2024 as companies adapt to a shifting legal landscape and the AI becomes a talking point on the presidential campaign trail. I got a little bit too silly there, but you know. And we've seen now the AI is dying. It's not dying, baby. It's not. Well, it's from the Washington Post, right? So, it's a reputable source saying that yes, this is affirmative action. Yes, this is putting minorities over white people. It's not me saying it. They are saying that. So we have... Is the AI officially dead? If only. If only. For the last few years, it seems that the anti-AI sentiment has gained traction and all habits have indeed been hard to break. The Supreme Court's decision to end affirmative action and strip away LGBT's rights and further the DI hate train. I've read this thing from the CNN. Creative LGBTQ rights, Colorado. This was about some guy or company refusing to create a web page for some sort of rainbow people. I don't think that's bad. You can also pick your own customers. That's okay. You will bake the gay cake, after all. The critiques of the AI have been escalating. In 2020, President Trump issued a diversity training ban based, and almost 3 years later, conservatives are hoping to limit corporate DI efforts, as they should. It's literally racism. The Chief Diversity Officer for Virginia recently stated that DI is dead. Anthony Brown, who has been serving DI is dead. Long live DI, I guess. Has been serving as Chief Diversity Opportunity and Inclusion Officer for Governor Glenn Youngkin since November 2022, made this bold statement in a speech at Virginia Military Institution. In a statement to the Washington Post, reputable source, asserted it's proven that institutions achieve more with a more diverse and inclusive workforce. False. They have higher profits, but they also get free money, so it's really hard to tell. However, equity has become a trade-off for excellence. You cannot say this, okay? You cannot say this. Doesn't make any sense. It's proven that institutions achieve more with more diverse and inclusive workforce, but equity implies less excellence. This is a contradiction in itself. So then, what is the future of the AI? When this question was asked to an audience on LinkedIn via a poll, the results garnered some interesting finds. Out of over 500 responses, 40% of respondents felt that the future of the AI is less investments and funding in the AI. Okay. 25% of respondents indicated that there will be less focus on race and racism in the AI efforts. 20% of respondents said that what we are seeing now is the end of the AI as we know it. It is, remember that. And 16% felt that the AI would stay the same. Several factors point to a shift into the AI landscape. The AI in higher education is facing repeated attacks. Florida Governor fucking DeSantis has become one of the most vocal figures in the anti-DEI movement. In May of 2023, DeSantis signed legislation prohibiting public colleges and universities from funding DEI initiatives in the state of Florida, which is fair. Anti-DEI legislation tracker from bestcolleges.com revealed that as of June, there were several states where anti-DEI legislation has been introduced or approved, including Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. That's my stuff here. According to the February NBC News article, DEI roles also seem to be shrinking. Seattle Times, my bad, reported in January that tech layoffs are hitting DEI roles. No fucking shit, Sherlock, they're fucking useless. What did you expect? You had to trim the useless fat. They're bloated, absolutely bloated. Jeez. We are seeing sharp declines. Haiti Mendes, not biased at all, is a DI practitioner that worked for a large tech company until she was laid off in March. Mendes, who is the founder and CEO of Boldly Speaking LLC, shared that while she thinks corporations sold on the business case for DEI, she anticipates pushback. I think some organizations might use the current environment as an excuse to be compliant, but to otherwise move away from prioritizing DEI initiatives that were never a priority in the first place. She's coping. The results of the aforementioned LinkedIn poll indicate that many feel that DEI will become less focused on race, if only. From 2020 to early 2022, I believe companies focused a lot on racial equity and wanted to do their part to level the playing field. Chair DEI practitioner Lambert O'Day Jr. Unfortunately, starting in mid-2022, I started to see equality being the focus again. O'Day expressed concerns that progress will be halted with the move away from the equity focus. Equity, and not the economic kind. Kind of the economic kind, but you know. We learned a lot about equity versus equality in the last couple of years, so we unfortunately now this is all headed back towards the status quo. Yes, they're trying to say that equity is better than equality. You cannot make this shit up, dude. And the racism should be the nucleus of any DEI efforts. A failure to prioritize racial equity in DEI work means that inequities will continue to persist. Good. The result of the divestment from DEI will have deleterious effects on racial diversity in the workplace. Are you fucking admitting that minorities are worse at their jobs? Strange thing to say. Many of those hardest hit by layoffs, particularly in tech, are black workers. You are saying this, not me. As well as workers from other marginalized and underrepresented backgrounds. Workplaces that adopt race-neutral policies will hinder their ability to find the best and most competitive talent. How the fuck can you say that with a straight face? Workplaces that adopt race-neutral policies will hinder their ability to find the best and most competitive talent. Wow. App is down, good is bad. Jesus fucking Christ. The copy is absolutely massive here. Yeah, it's absolutely not dead. It's not, believe them when they say this. Chair DEI thought partner Adriel Parker. Yes, we've seen backlash against DEI, fueled by political agendas. Well, DEI is a political agenda, so it all makes sense. Misinterpretations of what DEI even means. No, you're quite clear. You're quite clear about it. And the dismantling of affirmative action. Historically, DEI initiatives have always been first on the chopping block when resources get tight for organizations, especially in today's volatile economy, especially today when they keep hiring people that are bad at their jobs. Massive layoffs in tech the last couple of years because they are fucking useless. Despite what should be an obvious need to continue to prioritize DEI, now, the future may include more cutbacks and less DEI funding. Good. Though anti-DEI sentiments seem to be rising, DEI is far from over. This is just one of the main metamorphoses that the industry will experience. Remember that. Remember that. As Parker explains, DEI can die as long as there are people. Your people, maybe. Our diversity will make us, humans. If we want to coexist peacefully in these shared spaces, DEI is a requirement. It's not. It was better in the 90s. Actually. Folks may want to call it something else, but the core goal, fostering understanding and fairness amongst people, continues to be the same. But it's not fairness. It's we have to prioritize minorities. Because fuck white people, we don't like them. Also, key takeaway here. They want to call it something else. They will. They want to change both ESG and DEI branding. Because it's getting too spicy, and they're getting pushback. And last but not least for today, our final article. LinkedIn. What will DEI look like in 2024? From Letitia Bird. from Perfecta, which is another DEI consultant bullshit. Let's read. In 4 years, we're seeing a shift in how companies approach diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. Between May 2020 and October 2022, companies pledged 340 billion USD. That's a whole lot of money. To fight racial injustice. On the side of racial injustice. Which is funny. This sparked an increase in DI program development, inclusive recruiting initiatives, and public displays of solidarity. Remember the blackest version on Instagram? No, never used Instagram. Fast forward to 2023, where we saw increased resistance to DI, the end of affirmative action, fewer DI job postings, more DI program cuts, and increased anti-DI legislation in higher education. Because it is still fucking discrimination based on race. You know what that is? Racism. Not that difficult to understand. As a result, companies are unsure of how to commit to DI without facing backlash. I don't think they can. Well, they can. But they had to be stealthy about it. They had to be covert about it. DI leaders are frustrated and burned out due to the emotional burden of having to prove the value of DI. Even though numbers show this work benefits all areas of business, they have to prove it because no one has. Companies get higher profit because they keep getting fucking free money from BlackRock and Vanguard and other companies like that. A majority of US workers say DI-related policies and resources have had a positive impact at their workplace, according to the Pew Research Center. Free fucking money! Companies' DI strategies have also have a measurable positive impact on agility, recruitment, retention, customer engagement, and company reputation, according to a study by Tech Targets Enterprise Strategy Group. You can keep saying that. That doesn't make it true. Decreasing resistance. It's natural for one to wonder, what will DI look like in the future? At this time, it's important to emphasize that DI is not dead, but may be reformed. It will. Based on data and conversations the Perfecta team has had with company leaders, is what organizations will focus on in 2024 to rebuild DI momentum and create equitable workplaces. Based on data conversations, I just read that. Companies will make DI an integral part of their culture rather than an isolated initiative. It's not gonna be a cancer sticking out of the head. It's gonna be permeating every single fucking cell. DI is closely related to ESG, so it's not a surprise. As the workforce becomes more diverse, companies will have to be more strategic about how they accommodate employees' needs. Are you saying races are different? Okay, sure. That means DI will be integrated into the culture to prioritize employees' well-being inside and outside the workplace. Outside the workplace? Why? Well, this happen through inclusive programs and employee benefits such as caregiver leave, okay. Rental leave for workers including LGBT parents, okay. Childcare support, period leave. I see. Fertility benefits. Okay. During holidays, volunteer time off policies, health and wellness programs, mental health support, transportation assistance for employees with mobility challenges, limited PTO purchase programs, or PTO conversions. Unlimited paid time off. How the fuck is that possible? I don't think that's possible. That's gonna crash. When employees feel supported and connected to a company's culture, they're more likely to be engaged and recommend their company as a great place to work. They're also less likely to burn out and less likely to search for other job opportunities, according to a Gallup report. Sure. Companies will prioritize DI training and education. You will be trained and educated. Sorry to tell you this. You will. In response to the resistance to DEI initiatives, there will be more emphasis on education and training. You will be re-educated. Companies committed to prioritizing DEI will ensure that all employees understand the meaning of DEI. Trust me, they know. Some of them. By the companies implementing certain programs and initiatives because free money, and their roles as allies. I hate that fucking term nowadays. So scummy. DEI will also be integrated into development programs for managers. As people from different countries and backgrounds join remote teams, people leaders will need more training on inclusive language. How? Why? Effective communication and managing diverse groups of employees around the globe. If this was learning new languages, sure. They're saying inclusive language, what the fuck? I don't understand. Since senior leaders are the torchbearers of learning and development, inclusive leadership training will also be a bigger focus area for companies. This training provides a heightened awareness of unconscious bias, power structures, and motherfucking systemic barriers in the workplace. As a result, leaders can establish regular feedback loops with employees, be more involved in DEI initiatives, and build a culture of trust. That's just fucking propaganda. Companies will implement more data tracking measures to drive accountability. To see clear return on investment for DEI initiatives, they want the free fucking money. Wonder why? It's free money, and they're fucking scummy. Companies must set and track measurable goals and hold team members accountable for their commitments. This year we'll see greater focus on data tracking and analysis. Okay. A Cindy report shows that 85% of organizations say they can do a better job at measuring workplace equity. Why is that a thing? This means the majority of companies need structured systems for tracking key DEI metrics throughout the employee life cycle, which include, but not limited to, pay equity data. Jesus Christ. Demographic data for current employees and candidate selection committees. Promotion and advancement rates, retention rates by demographic groups, training and development participation. This data-driven approach ensures great accountability and transparency from company leaders. Invest in your company's future and learn how to embed DEI into your culture. I'd rather not. The future of DEI may seem unpredictable, but there are clear strategies leaders can use to create a work culture where employees feel valued and supported. Take a look at Perfecta's resource for more information. Yes, I'm gonna look at your company. Shut up, dude. Shut up. But yeah, DEI is not dying, sadly. They want to get inside your ass. They want to be... Where was it again? We saw that. I don't remember where, but it was here. They want to be... They don't want DI to be a cancer on the side. They want to permeate absolutely fucking everything. It was probably around here somewhere. Want to embed DI in the company culture. This shit is not going away. I've seen some rebranding already. Instead of DI, they're going to with D and I. Also seeing several mentions of another consultant called Mackenzie, something like that. And it's important to take a look at that. So at the end of the day, ESG and DEI are absolutely not conspiracy theories. They're happening. They're being supported by big government, by big companies. And the end goal is way worse than what you were thinking before. Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny business? It is extremely sad. But yes, this is happening. This is happening right now. And people need to know. And whatever is yet to come is gonna be even worse. Social credit score? Absolute lunacy. Discrimination based on race? Absolutely fucking everywhere? That's gonna be terrible. Just you wait. Just you wait. Soon, they will be asking for higher prices for white people. You're not a minority. You need to pay more for products and goods. I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen. Jesus Christ, I'm so tired of this bullshit. People keep shitting on this. No, no, it's you guys. You are the racist ones. I'm not the one that's for racial hiring here. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, friend. It is so sad. The world is full of useful idiots. Some other times I think they're closer to useless idiots. So there's that. Anyway, we've been talking about this for almost 2 hours and a half, and my throat is dying. So I will take my leave. Anyway, thank you all for coming. I hope you had some fun. I will come back on. I should be coming back on Monday as per usual. So, take care, and I will see you soon. Do not fall for this bullshit.